Manny Pacquiao has nothing to prove, so why is he fighting? That's the question that everybody's asking. I'm Filipino, so my uncles, aunts, everybody, all my family's asking me because they know I work in the sport of boxing. They're saying, why is Pacquiao fighting again? You know, did you hear about Pacquiao's fight? What is he doing? Does he need money? And let's break it down. This is my evaluation of why Pacquiao is fighting. And first off, you know, I just want to say something. As a Filipino person, you know, I've been to the Philippines. You'll see Manny Pacquiao's face everywhere. So for people to think that he needs the money, this and that, you know, I feel like people need to understand how popular this guy is, how much of an icon Pacquiao is, because realistically, he's making money doing anything. You know, he doesn't have to fight. He could do an exhibition. Even if it wasn't fighting related, he could do a commercial, a movie, a brand deal, and he would make millions easy in the Philippines. But he's choosing to fight. And out of all people, if he was gonna make money, why would you fight Mario Barrios? That's another thing. Why would you necessarily fight a world champion? Why not fight Conor McGregor? Why not fight a UFC fighter? Why not fight Gervonta Davis? You know, those fights would make a lot more money than what Mario Barrios is bringing to the table. But what does Mario Barrios have that Pacquiao wants? It's a world title. You know, Pacquiao's genuinely trying to prove to himself that he can still stand with the best in the world. You know, maybe Mario Barrios isn't the best 147 pounder out there. I understand that. I think Pacquiao's team understands that, and Pacquiao gets that. So when everybody says, you know, I gotta pick Barrios, you know, I'm not mad at the people, but also understand, you know, every fighter that Pacquiao has faced has felt that aura. They've, you know, gone into that moment and been like, oh shit, I'm fighting Manny Pacquiao. Now, if Barrios is able to keep that bottled up, stick to the game plan, and, you know, reinforce the fact that Pacquiao is just another fighter trying to, you know, defeat him in the boxing ring, then I think he'll be fine. But if he gets shook, if he gets nervous, because, you know, he's been on a big stage with a guy like Tank, with a guy like Keith Thurman, but Pacquiao is different. Pacquiao is one of the most popular fighters ever within the history of boxing. So when that bell rings, don't be surprised if Mario Barrios starts to freeze up. You know, when he hears that introduction, that Hall of Fame Manny Pacquiao introduction, the 8-division world champion fighting out of the Philippines, really needing no introduction, Manny Pacquiao, what's Mario Barrios going to do? It's going to be a big psychological hill that Barrios is going to have to get over. If he's not able to manage it maturely and professionally, then we might see an upset, because Pacquiao is the underdog. He's going into this fight as the underdog for, you know, a big margin. You know, a big gap is there between the odds. You know, Pacquiao's a big underdog. So just hearing that, you know, you can't help but think, is it really that much of a mismatch? And while I think, you know, let's say a long 3 to 5 years ago, I think Pacquiao beats Barrios no problem. Don't even talk about in Pacquiao's prime. Pacquiao would destroy Barrios in his prime. But at this point in Pacquiao's career and where Barrios is in his career, Barrios is much younger, and he's on paper the tallest opponent that Manny Pacquiao's ever dealt with in his professional career. Taking all this into account, you got to be like, man, how's Pacquiao going to pull this one off? But the thing is that the blueprint is there. You know, for Pacquiao himself, he's beating tall guys. He's beating De La Hoya, Margarito, and those fighters were way more talented than Barrios. But the thing is, Pacquiao isn't as young as he once was. So how will that factor into the equation? And then, you know, you could also look at that Gervonta Davis and Mario Barrios fight. Mario Barrios was way bigger than Tank too. I think Tank is even a little smaller than Pacquiao. But the thing is, Tank's explosive and he's young. Pacquiao's explosive, but will his legs, will his body allow him to propel himself to victory? That's the main question. But like I said, you know, Pacquiao has nothing to prove. This is just an opportunity for him to enjoy what he loves so much, which is being surrounded by people who admire him and motivate him to work hard every day. You see him running in Griffith Park every single day. You see him at Wild Card hitting the bag, looking young, looking great in the gym, but it's all about fight night. And I think Pacquiao might just have the fight of his life and turn back the clock, because the game plan is there. You know, Tank was a southpaw, Pacquiao's a southpaw. Pacquiao is very fast, his feet are very fast, the hand speed. It could be trouble for Barrios, but Barrios is the younger and fresher fighter that is eager to beat a Hall of Fame legend in Manny Pacquiao. So we'll see what happens. I think it's a pretty close fight, closer than many people imagine, but we shall see on July 19th. We're about 2 weeks away, but thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments down below who you guys got between Barrios and Pacquiao, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe. It's been your boy Matt with Nabs Boxing, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.